Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, wherever you are. Well, Gab has unfortunately had its nuts cut off at the moment by the bastards on the left. I didn't. I haven't really used my Gab account much um, for the last few months. I've been looking to really try and migrate away from Twitter and Facebook by going setting up Gab and Minds, and I think it's BitChute. There needs to be more right wing thinking people to set up their own social networks, and but let's have a positive on this. This could actually help Gab get more people in the future once they get this network up and ready again. I mean, look what happened to Twitter. Twitter burst onto the scene, but because of the plane that landed in the Hudson River, and that launched Twitter. So this, as horrendous as the act was for what happened in the synagogue, um, my um, condolences go out to these people for this quite horrendous act. The nutcase was clearly a nutcase, mentally ill and disturbed. Um, but to say that, or to imply that Gab was the reason for, um, for this nutcase to be running around and doing what he did, it's just ridiculous. It really is. I mean, look at that bastard who killed, I think it's 12 people in the black church. 12 people were killed. Now, he was on Facebook consistently, and I think he was even spouting a few of his racist views and all this kind of business. But what's happened to Facebook? Has not Facebook been shut down? Why wasn't Facebook shut down? The reason being is because Facebook, um, YouTube, all these networks didn't do anything about um, these other, extremist people, far left, far right, and all this kind of business, because at the time they didn't know what to do with them. I mean, there was lots of beheading videos on YouTube. Why wasn't YouTube brought down? Because YouTube has been around for a number of years, and these things have been floating around, and it was people had, to be honest with you, people wanted to see these beheadings. These are the facts, and then cry out, "Is it disgusting?" Because it is horrendous. It is vile. So once those people had seen it and got their fill, they now wanted restrictions to be put on. So this is where you got with YouTube when all these, I think it started with it in the Guardian in the UK that withdraw their funding from their sort of advertising money from YouTube, and it just started to um, snowball from there. But it hasn't destroyed YouTube or hasn't brought YouTube down, because they've now got to a stage, even when they were at that period, where they're so big that they couldn't be brought down very easily. Gab is literally only been going since 2017, and so hadn't gotten enough people. But to be honest with you, the left have been trying to look for ways to bring down Gab, to bring down Minds, to bring down any right-leaning social networks. I mean, I think Twitter wanted to keep Alex Jones on the the Twitter network. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. Maybe it is true, but he probably could have got pressure from all his other left-wing leaning bastards, Facebook, YouTube, all those bastards who probably said, "Nah, you need to bring them down," because it was a coordinated effort with Alex Jones. They've done the same thing with Gab. I've been looking at ways of trying to get away from using Chrome, Google Chrome. I'm now using Opera, which was my browser along with Firefox of choice many years ago, before Chrome came into being. I very occasionally use Internet Explorer, but now that I've rediscovered Opera, which is fantastic, it has a free VPN inbuilt. I don't know how effective it is, but hey, it's a nice. It seems to work, because I can see, if I'm on eBay, I will see suddenly, I don't know what, eBay France or eBay Sweden or whatever it is. So it seems to be working on the Opera. So I'm now I've been using Opera now for the last 2 or 3 months to try and get away from using Google Chrome. My email Outlook, I use that extensively. In fact, I now point any Google emails I've got that I'm using, addresses that I use at the moment, are pointed directly to Outlook and come into my Outlook account. Outlook isn't as good, whether I like it or not, as Gmail, but I just feel I need to try and get away from at least using Google, even though I am using it for the emails to pop into Outlook, and using their infrastructure. I don't feel I'm going into the Gmail network to look in there, because some of these the problem is, some of the names that I set up for my business were in Gmail, and they match the business. This is the problem. So I've got no choice but to use them, but I pointed them into Outlook. Gab, I was starting to use, because again, I mean, I don't use Twitter. Twitter for me is nonsense. It's been nonsense since the celebrities have really used it heavily. So I don't use Twitter. I've been banned for a week because of I insulted a feminist bitch in the past. So it didn't bother me, because it's not, I haven't relied too much on these social networks. When I'm driving in my car, you're seeing young people with their heads bent over on their phone. They're walking bent over, interweaving between people as they're walking, without looking up, crossing the road without looking up. It's very, very dangerous. Really, really is. So, but I've been using Minds quite a bit because I'm seeing, a few people are, listening to my videos. Whereas on YouTube, before the apocalypse happened on YouTube, I was really getting 400-500 people, on some of my YouTubes, and I think the most I've ever got was I think 2,500. No, sorry, 3,900 people I've got on one YouTube video. So, but now the amount of people that are listening to some of the is 1, 2. That's it. Maybe 3 or 4. Whereas on Minds, it's not a huge amount, but these things take time to cultivate. The Minds network is moving on nicely. There is not much controversy there. They're running their business very well. We need more people who are on the right to start seeing what's happening to them by people on the left. I don't understand how the left have been able to get so much power. Literally, all the top big names are left-leaning. All of them. Facebook, YouTube, Apple, Twitter. Are they more libertarian? I don't know. And here we have our own right-leaning network, and it's been shut down because of some bastard nutcase who came and talked to nonsense. Let's read what is going to happen, or what's been happening. Gab has spent the past 48 hours proudly working with the DOJ and FBI to bring justice to an alleged terrorist. Because of the data we provided, they now have plenty of evidence for their case. In the midst of this, Gab has been platformed by essential internet infrastructure providers at every level. We're the most censored, smeared, and no-platform startup in history, which means we are a threat to the media and to the Silicon Valley oligarchy. If that's pronounced that right. That's why I paused. I thought, that doesn't sound quite right. But anyway, you get the gist. Gab isn't going anywhere. Too bloody right. It's not going anywhere. Now, the fact that they were able to provide the information to the FBI. I don't know what the Department of Justice. Department of Justice. That's in America. They were able to provide this information, which is fantastic. And he's now hopefully at some point he will be roasted on the electric chair, or probably be chemical. It doesn't matter what you write. It doesn't matter what the synopsis talking heads say on TV. It doesn't matter what verified nobodies say on Twitter. We have plenty of opinions, resources, and support. We will exercise every possible avenue to keep Gab online and defend free speech and individual liberty for all people. You see, it is quite dangerous So for some people, I'm not bothered. I don't use social media much or at all. The danger for is if people could start controlling people on these social networks and dictate to them how they think, they will be able to control all of their lives. 1984. So while this situation for Gab is horrendous, the long term could actually work out great because it's forcing Gab to say, you know what, you left leaning bastards, we will set up our own hosting networks, registries, etc., etc., so that people will know that Gab is about. And people will be able to go to their own network unless it's blocked by the internet will block them. But there was FidoNet was a private network many years ago, and I also used to be on the BBS bulletin boards back in the day in the early 90s. Maybe the Fido network could be revived again, and where people can go to away from the internet or a parallel to the internet and move across, because this is just ridiculous. These bastards are consistently censoring people, and because people have become reliant on their network, and they need to, this has made Gab and the leaning people to think, you know what, we've got to set up our own network. So there is a silver lining to the cloud here. Silver lining. Sometimes people need that little bit of a push for them to say, no, we're not going to take this shit no more. We will come away from the nonsense. We will come off the plantation. We will walk away and do our own thing without those left-wing pseudo-corporate bastards consistently interfering in their freedom. You have all just made Gab a nationally recognized brand as the home of free speech. Yes. Online at a time when Silicon Valley is stifling political speech they disagree with to interfere in a US election. And this is the same thing that's happening in universities. The left-leaning feminist lesbian bastards are controlling the universities, the schools. You don't know what is going on. And the left-leaning feminist lesbians are behind what is going on here. These are the facts. They are the ones who are controlling what is going on. I mean, some people would, another Alex Jones conspiracy. No, it's a fact. The lesbian feminists or feminists in general have a huge amount of power. We underestimate them. They have a hand in what is going on here today. You mark my words. They have a hand. And totally agree. This has made, I said before, Twitter became famous because of the Hudson Bridge plane landing on Hudson Bridge. Sorry, the plane that landed on the Hudson River. Sorry, and it catapulted Twitter. This has catapulted Gab, unfortunately, on the back of a very, very horrendous tragedy, and there was no happy ending. as in the same as the Hudson Bridge situation. And condolences and heartfelt um, uh, feelings and sadness for what's happened. But the the justice must be served, and this guy needs to be fried. Plain and simple. Don't faff about. Don't take 15 years. 2, 3, 4 years. Let him suffer on death row, and then deal with him. The internet is not reality. TV is not reality. 80% of normal everyday people agree with Gab. Absolutely correct. And support free expression and liberty. The online outrage mob and the mainstream media spin machine are the minority option. But I don't think that's quite right. I think that unfortunately that 80% of people agree, but they are not a small minority. They're quite large. This is the problem. They are trying to control all aspects of society. That includes the feminists are primarily there or definitely backing it and intertwining their nastiness in this situation. So, we've got to fight this. Right thinking people must fight this evil socialist nonsense that is in the society that we have today. It's going to be fought. Otherwise, 1984 will truly be around our necks. And it will be the left who will be controlling what goes on in our everyday lives. These are the facts. These are the facts. That's what they want to do. They try to do it in Russia to structure it in such a way that everybody's life is controlled from morning, noon till night, from birth to grave, but very well, very, very, very controlled. The same thing with China. Both times have not worked. China has a pseudo-democracy, but at least it's better than the nonsense of pure socialism that they had before. People are waking up. Absolutely correct. So please keep pointing the finger at a social network instead of pointing the finger at the alleged shooter who holds sole responsibility for his actions. No, platform us all you want, ban us all you want, smear us all you want. You can't stop an idea. Absolutely correct. As we transition to a new hosting provider, Gab will be inaccessible for a period of time. We are working around the clock to get gab.com back online. Thank you, and remember to speak freely. So, Gab has been gagged by those of the evil left. I just hope that those people on the right will wake up, fully wake up, because we are in the matrix and it is being controlled by the left. So I just hope that they can get their hosting set up. I hope there's a right thinking hosting company out there that will host them. And if they can't, if they have the money, set up their own hosting. They've got to do it, and they've got to do it fast. Anyway, that's my view and my opinion. Good luck to Gab. Please come get back as quickly as possible. And when it does, we must all support this social network as much as possible. Cheers.